Okay, hello everyone and welcome back. So, in terms of what you're doing today, the first thing you want to be thinking about is our virtual crate digging. So in the Discord, we made a list of the different genres of music that madlib was sampling. And the reason for this is so that you can go and, for example, type in Brazilian jazz, right? And then go to playlists and see all the, look, these guys have done the work for you. So you can go in here and just listen, right? And try different sorts of things. Like, let's say we type in Ethiopian rock, right? Okay, here we go. There's a lot of Ethiopian jazz, it seems like. But, right, 90s Ethiopian songs. Okay, cool. Right, so play around with these genre names, these national names, and also year names, right? So what if I do 60s Detroit, right? See what we get. Okay, 60s party, oldies, all out 60s, 60s Detroit R&B. Okay, a lot of Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, Commodores. Let's even say we do Nashville 1920s. Right? So again, sometimes you might even get other weird stuff. Okay, now you're like, okay, looking at 1910s music or whatever, right? So let's go back to, I'm just going to do the same thing that I did in class just to make this easy, right? But let's say I typed in my Brazilian jazz, right? And so I go to this place, Brazilian jazz funk, right? And so go through and spend some time just listening to these, right? Obviously, the better sample you pick, the easier this is going to be for you, right? So... right, so listen to these. Hopefully you can hear that. But my tips for you are to listen to the. You don't have to sit there. You don't have to sit there. Like listen to the beginning. Okay. Listen to the beginning, and then maybe listen like about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through. Often there's like a little break there, or it changes up. But yeah, so go through, listen, skip around, see what you can find. So I think the song that I found that I was interested in was this song. So once you've found a song, or maybe find a couple, I would just maybe start by finding a couple songs because you need a couple samples for this activity. But also sometimes some samples won't really work that well once you actually get them in there. But I got this one, Beast, Arthur Verocai. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to YouTube. Type in Beast, Arthur Verocai, right? I'm going to go here. I'm going to grab that link. And then you can go to one of these many YouTube MP3 sites. One that's working right now is y2mate.is. So here we go. Paste your link in. Hit start. Make sure you switch to audio here. And then just get the highest quality. Click that, so then it will download it. And once it downloads it, take it out of your downloads folder and put it into that folder that has all the stuff, all your music stuff, right? Because we want to keep everything organized, right? So then when you can go in here, you can go. So for me, I know that it should be, what is it called again? I forget, but it should be in whatever folder you put. I'm just going to search for it like this. Right, so there you go. Right, so now the key thing that, as I was saying in class, we could just start going with this, right? And let's say we pulled in a kick. Right? So let's say I pull in this kick. I'm going to turn it up really loud, right? Right, now I'm just like, okay, I want to put a kick on every beat, a little house thing, right? Right, hopefully you can tell, oh wait, that is totally, that seems like out of, that does not seem in time with the sample. right? So what we need to do is we need to warp the sample so that not only is it in time with this grid, but it also means that when we drag other things in, right, they should match up, right? So if I drag a breakbeat in, right, that should sound in time with it. Also, if we change the tempo in the top left, we can. So how can we do this? There's a couple. So Ableton will do a lot of this for us. So one of the most useful things we can do is you want to go to Google and type in your song and then type in BPM. That's the beats per minute. This website TuneBat seems to have a lot of this stuff. So you can see the BPM is 101. Now, why is this useful? If we double click on this clip, double click on the header, right, with the hand, double click, you'll see down here this waveform, right? This is the file, right? Now, what we can do is you see there's BPM down here, right? It's grayed out. We can't change it right now. But what this BPM is that's not the BPM of the whole project. That's still different, right? So you see 83 here, right? This BPM is us telling Ableton what BPM this song is at. Right now it's kind of guessing, like if we turn on warp, it's sort of guessing, or it may just be going to like the exact, just whatever the project is. But if we tell Ableton what the BPM is, which was 101, that helps its algorithm. So you can see it kind of shifted it around, right? So that helps its algorithm say what the BPM is, right? And get things in sync for us, right? So we turn on warp. You generally going to want to change it to complex so that things kind of sound the same. And then the final thing you want to do is you need to listen for like the first kind of beat, right, of the song. Usually this is just like where the first, you can kind of see this first wave, right, where this first kind of sound is. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's an upbeat before the downbeat, but sometimes there's weird stuff at the beginning, but like you want to find that first beat. So if we listen, right, you can kind of see that it starts there, and you can see that it will make these little markers here. So we can double click on this marker so that it becomes yellow, right click and hit set 111 here, right? Now let's, right, so it's a little slower because our whole BPM is down, but we want to see if it's in time with the project. So for that, we got to turn on our metronome and listen. Okay, so it's a bit off, right? So for some of your songs, what we just did should be fine. If that doesn't work, I want you to right click and go to warp from here straight, right? And then try and listen. Right? Again, doesn't quite work. So for this one, we might need to kind of manually change things around. So what you want to do is you can see that we have these bars here, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? These are our musical bars. We want to get the different phrases of this song in line with those. So if we listen, right? So right there, we can hear it in the phrase, the musical phrase of the main melody. Sometimes you may have to listen to the drums or other instruments that are sort of keeping time, right? But in this case, it's da 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 da, right? So you can say da 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 da, 1 da da 3 4, 1 2 3 4, right? So we can just match up the beginning of each of those phrases with our 2 3 4. So right, so the next one is kind of here, right? Right, now that one's kind of straightened itself out. Right, there's number 4. Right, and there we go, right? And now if we listen, so again, you don't need to do this for the whole song, but just pick the part you want to sample and, right, just make sure that part is in time, right? So, let's listen. 4, right? So now we're good, right? Now this is in time. Now if we drag in this break beat, right? It sounds a little weird because of the pattern is just conflicting with the drums of the original, but it's roughly in time, right? So now I'm going to change my tempo to what I want it to be, again, for more of a hip-hop style thing, talking about like 80s, 90s, right? Hip-hop R&B, right? For electronic music, maybe we want to go a little faster, 130, 140. I'm going to do 98, right? So, right? Okay, so now you have your sample, and we want to manipulate it. We want to kind of make it our own, right? So this sounds pretty good as a loop. We've obviously changed the speed, and we might want to first thing just change the pitch, right? See how you like the sound of it at different pitches. Right? I like that kind of slowed down thing a little. And then, you know, if you have a weirder sample, maybe that's all you want to do. You could play around with the warp modes a little or something. I feel like because this is kind of so straightforward, I want to sort of, you don't have to, but I want to sort of maybe do some chops here, right? So, right? So maybe we could even just do something like, start with something, try something like this. Right, maybe that's a bit too repetitive, so let's listen. And do something just like this. Right, and then you may notice, oh, okay, it looks like it's kind of... Right, now that little stutter, that can be nice, so maybe we want to keep that, but if you wanted to get rid of it, you could also go in here and just double click this and drag it sort of out, right? Right, but I think I kind of like that little off filter. Right, so I'll maybe do the same thing here. Right, so maybe I'm also kind of curious, maybe put this here. This here. Now that's kind of nice at the end. Okay, so let's just stick with something like that, right? So again, I'm keeping this one pretty simple, but as you go through, you know, use those different techniques that we talked about in some of your different beats, right? So remember also we have like reversing, right? So that could actually be kind of fun. Right, and maybe... out, reverse, sample, we have our fades in, right? We can duplicate different parts, right? So play around with a lot of different things. Some you can leave a little more simple, some you can go a bit more crazy with, right? And then what you can do from there, right, is, I mean, you can start dragging in audio, right? But you can also go back to our drum rack, right? So instruments, if you liked that way of working from last week, you can go to drum rack and then start to drag in some of our sounds. Okay, those might be a bit intense. Let's see. I actually have. Oh, okay. This I will just use this for the sake of. Oh crap! Wait. Oh, sorry. I dropped in an instrument rack. No. We want a drum rack. Great. And. So this will just, you should pick all your own sounds, but I'm just going to do this for the sake of simplicity right now. Right, and then to make our MIDI clip, we're just simply going to select, right? And since I'm rocking with this 808 kit, maybe I'm like, maybe we should actually make this more of like a housey sort of thing. And as you're selecting these, if you want to hear this stuff, if you turn this headphone on thing, then when you select stuff and when you move it around, you'll actually hear it. So let's see. Okay, and I'm just going to go in. So by double clicking, go to that. Okay, this one. And I'm just going to turn the volume up, gain up a little, just make it a little louder. And as I was saying in class, you might be like, oh, well, the low end of this sample is kind of conflicting with my drums, right? So one thing we can do with samples, you also might notice, oh, sometimes there's bass or there's sometimes elements at the high end or low end. You may not want to have all, right? There might be multiple instruments in your sample and you may want to cut out certain things. So how you can start to do that is by going to audio effects and then going to auto filter. If yours doesn't look like this, it will probably look like this. And you can go to EQ and filters and drag in the auto filter. I like to just have it like this. And then, so you'll see, right, that's that filter sweep. So this little graph down here represents the frequency spectrum from low frequencies to high frequencies. And anything under this curve is going to be, still played. Right, so now I'm letting, and I can grab this yellow dot and pull it to let in more of them. But now let's say you want to get rid of the lows, you could switch to this different shape. Right, so I kind of want to do that more. There are other shapes too. But these two are going to be the ones that probably are using the most. So the resonance will create a little spike at that place, right? Right. You don't want to bump it too high. Okay. So now, right. Okay. So let me continue putting together my little housey thing. I'll put the clap on every other beat. Why all of this is so quiet? Let's get my clap. Turn it up a little as well. Maybe I'll just turn this down a bit more. Maybe over here for this little bit, I'll just take out the kick there. Right, and then maybe for these, we'll just get a ton of these in here. Oh, no, sorry. We got to do our classic house thing, of course. Not that. We got to find our... Where's our open hat? Yeah, here we go. Okay, great. Okay, and I'm just going to put an audio effect called a drum bus on this. You probably won't need to do this for yours, so don't worry about this. But just so you can kind of hear this a bit more. It's so quiet. Okay, so I've got my main beat down, right? This is just 4 bars. We need 8, but I got my main beat here, right? So let's start structuring out. So I'm going to take this, copy it across without the beat, and maybe we'll do, as I said, like 2 bars of intro, right? So, and for intro, right? Maybe for the intro, we'll let it play a little more, but then I'll do more of a chopped thing here, actually. Right? And actually, maybe I'll take, let's see, how does that sound? Or maybe I'll just do this as the intro. And I can even just put in, like, I'll just put in, like, some snares. Where's the snare? Right? I think that would be kind of fun. and then maybe here. So again, you see how I'm trying to make like slight variations every bar, basically, right? Just to keep our attention. And then maybe we can do that. Right, and I'm kind of making a little build. Ooh. Maybe we need to do. Where's the maraca? Right, okay, now the reason I pitched this down initially is because now we can pitch it up a full octave, right? So I shift clicked to select all of it, and you can double click if you're in like some other view. Shift click, right, should bring you that. Now I can pitch this up by 12 to 9, right? And now I want to do a little bit more of a chop, right? So I'm going to just, and it's going to be a bit more repetitive, right? Ooh. Yeah, maybe just like. Cool. And I'll change the gain on some of these for a little build. Right, and then I'll do kind of like the same pattern here.
Wait, how do you mean? So did it work out? Like what? I mean, obviously it did work out.
Right, and then we do the same thing again. And I did like that little, didn't we have that little break? Where was that? Okay, right? So now I have 2-bar intro. Okay, now for this one, I guess since I just want to do the shorter intro because I want to get down to the main thing, I could do 8, but I think it might make sense, a little bit more sense to do 10 just so I can have repetitions of 4 and 4, right? So now I can think about what sort of variations I might want to do here, and maybe we can pitch this back down, and I'll add some more elements, right, to kind of pick up the pace. Right, we'll get rid of this clap part. Maybe we'll just have it. No. Maybe we'll just have kind of the normal thing we had there. Oh, sorry. I'll put that kick back. Okay. I'm going to add one other element, maybe some snares. Oh no, that's from the original one, sorry. I want to put it in here. Maybe I'll add a cymbal. No, it doesn't do that much. Out the toms and just repeat that cowbell pattern. Okay. Actually, I think I might like this. Yeah, I don't really like that dropout. Doesn't make as much sense anymore. Okay, so great. So now that we're at this part, right? So we kind of have created, we have our main sample that we chopped, we had our main beat, we've created some major variations, we created an intro. Now what you want to do to really get this in shape is we want to add some of those longer samples, right? So go back, take a look on free sounds, right? I remember I have this like rain stick sound that I'm going to chop and reverse and just put it in. But I kind of want it to just be like for this part. Right, so you can think about including these more durational samples. We can also start to think about including a non-musical sample. So you should go on YouTube and find these, but I maybe have some stuff here. Where's my children? I always have some kids.
Shake about you. No, miss.
Let's see. Let's see, the kids talking. No.
I've got £74 in the bank.
I feel like, yeah, so you can get some of these more like ambient things. Let's try the laugh maybe. Okay, let's try this. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I think that adds kind of a nice, funny little bit to the beginning. Okay, great. I'll turn it down a little. Right, so these little non-musical samples, right? These durational things, these non-musical things, right? These are adding some unique touches, right? The beat itself is not that crazy. The sounds are very normal. The sample is fun. It's these details that really will begin to add. And then the final thing you want to do is start to do little transitions, right? So what I'll maybe do is maybe I can like, now that I have this laugh thing, right? Maybe I can take out some of this stuff at the laugh. Right, and I can kind of move this, and I will just. I don't really like that, but I think that's an idea of what you could do. So I think, right, maybe here we'll just do our classic like. Okay, so I think we could just just like take stuff out. Just kind of have a nice little silent moment there. Okay, don't worry about this thing that I do sometimes of deactivating the clip. You can just do delete. Yeah, there we go. So you definitely want to do them every like 1 or 2 bars. It doesn't have to be every single bar, because you don't have too many disruptions, but let's see how it goes. So we have one there. Right now we're already starting to get some of that variation by just having this longer 4-bar sample, but I'll just put in some stuff here, put in some more claps. Right, and then maybe this time we'll take out this stuff. That kind of loops back into the beginning, right? And then it might just be nice to have like one more durational thing here at the end. Maybe we can do, like, I had a cymbal. Again, you can find some weird stuff, but some like dolphin noises? No. No. What did I have? My lion? We do a little reverse. So one thing, the thing that can be nice to lead into a new section is to do a reverse sound that's like building. It's not great, but you'll see kind of how it sounds with something like this. Right? Or even if you were just to take a cymbal, right, and reverse it, it kind of leads in sort of nicely. Right? You can even do it with a kick. Although kicks are a bit shorter, so maybe you'd want to go here or duplicate it once or twice. Not repitch, change texture. Go in here and just. It's kind of weird, but that's kind of cool actually. Can't really hear that well. But yeah, so you can add some more little details and stuff. But yeah, I think this for me, yeah, I think this kind of is something that seems fairly complete. So again, we have a we have like a nice sample that's being chopped, manipulated, pitched. There's different sections. There's drums. There's these one shots. There's musical, non-musical samples. There's variations that create transitions between things, and it comes out at 10 rather than 8, which is fine. So yeah, let's just listen now to the final bit of work. And I'll maybe just throw something in here. It'll just be a little louder. Okay, yeah, so as you can see, it moves through a little bit quick in terms of pacing. If we were actually to make this into a full song, we might kind of draw things out a little. But I just want you to get all the experience kind of doing these micro details, because that really just expands, you know, like it would not be super hard to expand this into a 2 to 3 minute song. You kind of have the core of a lot of stuff here. So yeah, looking for you to do kind of 3 of something like this. And of course, if you're having trouble warping the sample, please let me know. Awesome. Okay, good stuff. And if you have any questions, obviously hit me up in the Discord.